It's very difficult to do stand-up without a real audience. So to practice, I was running my jokes with my husband and he wasn't responding to anything. So I asked him why, and he said, well, I wanted to help you by being your typical Zoom audience. So he just kind of stared at me blankly and said nothing. But then I realized that's also the same reaction I get when I ask him, did you remember to do the thing that I asked you to do? And are you sure that you need to eat that? So, being married in quarantine is lots of fun, lots of quality bonding time. And it's kind of amazing how being in this circumstance makes me appreciate things I never thought that I would appreciate. Like my husband has sleep apnea and he snores like a trucker. So he wears a CPAP machine, which is essentially a device that attaches to his face and helps his breathing and our marriage. And he essentially looks like a combination of Bane, Darth Vader, and Babar the elephant. It's very, very, very attractive. And it's really remarkable. It's oddly comforting. In the middle of the night, if I can't sleep, I turn over and I listen to the blissful sound of Jessica, I am your husband. I wanted to do more jokes on that, but I asked him, and I said, but he kind of just used the powers of the Force, and he said, these are not the jokes you're looking for. So I'm very grateful, though, to be married. I was single for a long time, 12 years of searching, and my heart really goes out to all of those who are single right now. I can't imagine how difficult this time must be for you. And I have a friend, Rachel, who's an amazing therapist, and she compared dating to waiting at the airport in baggage claim. So some people get their bags right away. Yay for them. And some people have to wait a lot longer. Sometimes you see a bag and you're like, oh my God, that's my bag. And then you reach for it and you grab it and you're like, that is definitely not my bag. Sometimes it feels like the same bags are going around and around and around. Sometimes your bag is in China. I know a lot of Jewish men seem to think so. And sometimes it feels like, United didn't even bother to pack your bag and you have to go back to the beginning of the journey to find what it was that you were looking for. But at the end of the day, we all have our baggage. So I found my bag again after 12 years. It was a very long time in the airport. And but even though I got out and I got married, I remember I did my time. And I remember, so many of the awkward dates, all of these different things. And especially, and I've been thinking about this a lot, I remember Skype dating. And I'm sure this is very in now. This was before Zoom. The CEO of Zoom was a billionaire. And we had to use Skype. And Skype really wasn't so up to snuff. And you'd go on these Skype dates, and then all of your awkward moments would forever be etched and frozen in time because the screen would always freeze. And of course, nobody would really realize that the screen was freezing. So you'd be talking and having this incredibly awkward conversation, and then you would just see the guy go like this for an extended period of time. And he didn't realize that this was happening, so he'd continue talking. So you would just see this overlaid with, and that's why I live with my mother. So, lots of keepers there, lots of awkward things. And sometimes I thought on a Skype date, maybe if the conversation wasn't going well, I would just pretend that the screen froze so I could get out of the situation. So if it wasn't going well, I just go like this or something really unattractive like this. And I'm kind of hopeful that even after all of this is over, if I'm ever in any kind of awkward encounter, I could just do that in real life. You're at an awkward dinner party and you don't want to be there, so you just go blank. And now a bunch of you are wondering if I was actually frozen or if it was your screen at home that was freezing. But don't worry, it's all good. We got you covered. And, lots of changes this year. A lot of people I know made Pesach for the first time. That was a comfortable surprise that we had to deal with. And, Pesach cleaning is like this weird jujitsu samurai art of Pesach cleaning. You have to figure out, it's a delicate time balance. You can't start it too early because then you can't eat anywhere, and you can't start it too late because then you'll get curried. So you need to find the middle ground, and you have every day this ever diminishing return and area and space in which you can eat chametz food, and it gets smaller and smaller by the moment. It's also entirely arbitrary and kind of reminds me of that game we used to play when we were kids, when we'd pretend that the floor was lava. And you're like, oh, no, 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 you can't stand there. That's lava. You're melting. You're melting. The lava monsters are going to get you. And that's how my apartment felt. If my husband was anywhere where I had cleaned or vacuumed, I'd be like, oh, you can't eat chametz there. That's a no chametz zone. That has been designated. I vacuumed that pillow. You think I did that for fun? And of course, the whole year, we're setting ourselves up for future failure. Every time I eat a Nature Valley bar in my bed, I know that is a decision I'm going to regret as the crumbs descend to every corner and crevice of everything. But I just keep thinking to myself, well, that's a problem for future Jessica. And then, of course, when it comes time for Pesach cleaning, I am very mad at previous Jessica. And I did this all the time as a kid. I grew up in a house. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I had 2 brothers who ate all the food. And so it was survival of the fittest. And I became a professional squirrel. Whenever I got candy bars or anything that I wanted, I would hide them like a squirrel in my house. And I would protect it viciously. But then, like squirrels, and I don't know if you knew this about squirrels, but squirrels also forget where they hide all of their things. I, too, would forget where all the candy bars were. And then when we'd start cleaning for Pesach, I'd have that moment. And I would think, where did I put it? And I'd try to put myself in the mindset of previous Jessica, and I'd be very frustrated with the choices that she had made. And of course, it always also happened. I don't know if you ever had this with putting out of the 10 pieces of bread. You know, you go and inevitably we'd forget where one was. And then that's when the real Pesach cleaning started, because you tear everything apart, all the lovely, everything. You throw the couches that you vacuumed. And we never usually found that piece of bread, but we did find the missing candy.